Hey, everybody, Bernie Floresca with the October 5th edition of the Business Relations Strategist Weekly. So we have Spandana and Munawar. Spandana is kindly sharing her BRS chat screen, and I want you to open up the message. Go further down, Spandana. There you go, this message. All right, this was a message that was sent to me, and I connected. Why do you think this works?
So it's like he's following your posts and
No, I'm not following this post.
I mean
I'm following
he's
his post.
following. Oh, in my post. Okay, sorry. Sorry. You are going to support. Okay. I mean he loves your
So he referenced something, correct?
Hmm.
He referenced something and he said, thanks for the comment in my post. And then he gave me a compliment. All right. So two things that work in Chris's approach. Number one, reference something to give me a background of relatedness. He was saying that because I obviously commented on it, that he was just bring it to my attention. And then he said, he gave me the compliment. Right. So was this about me as the person that he's trying to reach out to, or was it about him?
Oh. Was it?
The compliment's definitely not about him, right?
Yeah,
It's about the other party. Whenever you reach out to somebody and you're trying to establish a relationship, a good rule of thumb is to make it about them. He made it about me when he sent me this message.
Yes.
Okay, if you close this, and then now let's go to one of the messages that's getting ignored for you. You know how to find those, Spandana?
Sorry, Bernie, can you repeat it? Messages?
Do you know how to find the connect messages?
I mean, on a
Click my
strange person, you're saying, right?
any person. Because we're just focusing on the message. We want to see what you're saying.
Okay, I know, I mean, how to do the connect message. So,
No, you know how to do it, but I want to see what you're saying.
oh, what I am saying, okay, I'll
Yes,
show you.
because that's where we learn.
Yeah, so
If this person, okay, the ones that you're looking at in your mailbox right now, these are already connections. So two categories. One is you're trying to reach out to somebody who's not connected, or number two, you're trying to revive somebody or they already connected and then it got stuck. They're not saying anything else. Which one do you want to talk about first?
So actually, I mean, this person, I have sent a message and then he connected with me.
Okay.
So
Let's hear Munawar based on the recommendations for message design principles. Do you remember what the 3 design principles are?
Actually not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Spandana will let's go through it together. Go to the index. So go to the group first, Illinois Tech Career Services. We're going to come back to this.
Yeah, sure.
That open because we're going to come back to it. So this is part of what you guys get during a weekly call, because I get to walk you through what you don't understand, where you get stuck. Okay. You want to open the index, please. Very good. Do a Control F, hashtag business relations. Okay. And then there's 3 groups of messaging. There's a connect codes. Keep scrolling. Connect messaging is the 3rd one. All right. Connect code, connect practice. Scroll down so everybody in the recording can see it. Keep scrolling, please. See, the first group is connect code. The second group is connect practice. The last group is connect messaging. All right. Click connect messaging 1. Comment tag, which is the most obvious. And how to get on somebody's radar is to comment on their posts or to tag them. But the reason I have you bring this up is you see where it says message design principles. There's 3, right? The first one says it's got to be short. Okay. The second one is it's worded so that you expect a response. because what you're doing is you're laying the foundation for a back and forth. Does that number 2 make sense?
Yes.
Pretty much.
Hey, Pallavi. Well, thanks for joining us.
Hey, hi. Yeah, I'm a bit late. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. That's why we record these things, because we have it weekly, and whoever shows up, we record it so that we can share this and people can catch up. So no
Yeah,
worries.
sure. Thank you.
So message design principles, it's got to be short. It's got to be worded thoughtfully such that you're expecting a response. And then the last one is never make a request in your first message. So now let's go to your message, Spandana.
I think everything is wrong in that.
Well, that's why I said, right? This is where you learn. This is where you learn. So thank you for sharing. So she says, happy weekend. Was that about you or about them?
About them? Like,
Very good. Your next sentence. I attend Illinois Tech and I'm interested in working with Motorola Solutions. Is that about you or about them?
it's about me.
Yes. So this is what I was saying earlier. When you're trying to get on somebody's radar, the approach that you did, Spandana, is what everybody does. They usually start talking about themselves from the get-go. So you see why it's not very attractive, so to speak, because number one, everybody's doing it. And then number two, well, I don't have to tell you number two, they just ignore it.
You know.
Right? And then the third one says, I have applied for summer. You're still talking about you. You're still talking about you applying job and would like to stay connected. Would you be willing to talk to me about what it's like you made a request? So you kind of did all three. Is it short? It could be shorter. So let's study this case. I want to hear from Pallavi, Munawar, and Vedant. Welcome to the call. And you too, Spandana. How could we reword this? Obviously, it was good because they connected, but that was pretty much it, right? So thoughts from the group. This is good, actually, as a good first BRS call for new members.
Well, honestly speaking, I can't judge Spandana's text message because I make the same mistakes.
Pallavi's
Well-
raising their hands, yes.
Yeah.
And that's why we're all on this call, because we're trying to teach you how to do it otherwise. So thank you guys for your honesty. And I appreciate that you're sharing messages like this, because this is how we learn, right? So before we go there, let's take a review of the suggestions in the index, Spandana, where we have connect cold
Oh, just a second.
index.
Sorry.
So remember the three groups of messages? Go to the very first group of messages, connect cold.
Oh, just give me a second.
And I want you to open connect cold 4.
Cold one.
4. Standard. This is a similar version to what you sent, because this student talked about themselves, but they didn't make a request, right? They said, I'm a junior, still talk about themselves. And then they said, I'd be happy to connect. This was sent with a connect request, so they didn't even really need to say that because it was assumed. It was sent with the connect message. And I'm going to repeat what I said. There is a psychology to why we send short messages. Because like all of you said, everybody talks about themselves, and that's usually not short, okay? We talk about ourselves, it's usually not short. And if everybody's doing that, it's very obvious in somebody's inbox who sent a long message or who sent a short message. Agree or disagree?
All right.
So that's one of the reasons why we say send a short message. Akil's message is short, but it could be shorter. Okay, close this window, please. Back
Shall I
to
go
the
back to
index.
index?
Yeah, close that altogether because we're gonna have too many windows. Why don't you click click Coca-Cola, connect code 9. I'm just having to have a conversation with Chase. And see how my opening message is not about me. Right? Because I'm just trying to get a response, right? Notice how if you say something like this, they're bound to say something. Like you, they accepted the connect request, Pandana, but they didn't really say something. If I said something like this, it's probably going to get them to smile and then they'd say something back. Right? It's like having a conversation on the street. If I met you on the street, you were a stranger. It's what we call small talk in the US, which isn't necessarily the practice in all parts of the world, right? One of the things that you notice in the States is you could be at a line at a grocery store and strangers just pretty much talk about the weather, talk about sports, that sort of stuff. You're trying to mimic that same environment in the way that we have our messages. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So close this, please. I want you to go to try Tesla, connect code 6. The actual message, please. You guys getting ideas?
So is it like directly coming to the point?
Well, it's coming to the point, but it's not really about me, right? I'm kind of giving them a passive compliment, if you will, right? Say, wow, a recruiter from Tesla, how could I not connect with you, right? So let's go to that person that you were referencing earlier. Let's open up their profile because the profile is usually where you can get clues as to a wealth of things you could talk to them about. So open Guojan's profile. So number one, it says that he's a software engineer at Motorola. Keep going. What else did he say about himself?
So is an alumni from IIT.
All right. So what could be an opening line instead of what you said?
Something about the college.
I want you to state it exactly how you would, because this is part of the practice. Anybody actually, not just Spandana, because this is good practice for everybody. Munawar, you gonna go?
We can say something about like go hawk or something
Yeah,
like yeah.
that's a good idea, right? You can go Scarlet Hawks or something, because he'd be about the team. If this person wasn't sports minded, they'd be like, what's he talking about? You at least caught his attention, right? But I'm assuming if they came to Illinois Tech, they would know what Hawks is. I'll be honest with you guys, okay? I'm alum, but I only came on campus for one class. Everything was transmitted to the campus at AT&T, where I was at when I was going for my master's. So I only came on campus for once. And if somebody said, like Munawar saying, go Hawks, I wouldn't have known what he was talking about. Questions? Good idea, Munawar. What else? He's got a PhD. He works at Motorola. I'm noticing that you're not opening See More. You really want to, because this is where you have clues for everything that they're talking about. Can you guys say something about a research interest? What would you say?
Maybe something on his publication.
You could say something about publication. You see, there's a wealth of information in somebody's profile that you can open the door with. Okay. Now it's not, it's even better than falling in line at a grocery store and just talking about the weather with somebody, right? Because those are general. This one, you can make it about them and say something clever like my Diet Coke, or say something about, you know, the recruiter from Tesla, right? Let me give you another example. We'll come back to this, Spandana. Go back to the index, and I want you to click connect code 3, Dalton. Dalton is an author. I didn't know that he was an author invited to Illinois Tech. I crafted my message such that he would respond, and he did. He connected, and then he said something that it was even longer than what I said. Why do you think it worked?
We like you made him curious about his like want to know
Very
review.
good. Very good. Okay. I was very strategic. That's why you guys are called business relations strategists, because you're very strategic in more than one way. You're going to be strategic in your messaging because you're crafting it such that you're expecting a response, because you're laying the foundation for a back and forth. Okay. Curiosity. What else?
It's about his work. I mean, not
Exactly.
something that you ask.
It's about his work. So to your point earlier, Spandana, about that other gentleman from Motorola, we could talk about their publication. But realize it can't be something very long. It's going to be something short and catchy, so that it's going to stand out in the message box, and that it's crafted such that they get back. Questions? So I guess your homework for this week is to send out messages practicing what we just talked about today. Any questions about your homework? It's very easy, right? You go to their profile, say something that's about them, and then try to put in some humor or whatever it is. That's all based on your personality too, by the way. Most of the examples that you see me posted was Bernie's personality, okay? You don't have to mimic somebody else. You can be yourself, because you're going to have an interaction with this person. So the more you are yourself, the better it is, because you'll show up as you. You're going to be going back and forth, right? So it's going to be short, designed to get a response, and then never make a request. Any questions about that before I make one comment to Spandana for her next step? Because even though she sent quote unquote the wrong type of message, she still got connected. All right. So the name of the game at this point is, it's kind of like playing ball. You threw the ball to his court, he threw it back. Now it's your turn. Right? But how do you open that? I'll give you some more suggestions, unless you have questions about the first message that we just discussed. No questions? If you close this window, please, let's go back to the index. Scroll back to the third group of messages, connect messaging. And then you see all of these are tactics as to how to follow up, because students were making connections and they were like, what the heck do I say next? So for your specific case, Spandana, you want to click the where it says connect messaging 4, where it says thanks.
4?
Connect messaging 14, sorry.
Thanks, huh?
Yes. So the thanks tactic, go further back up. Let's read what was shared. Not the message. I said some things to explain this. Scroll back up. Thank you. It says the thanks tactic. When you send a connect request and they accept your request, but they say nothing, which is exactly what happened, Spandana. Okay. I share a tactic in the workshop. What do I say next? note how I say thanks. I can spell out the whole word, or I can even say THX, thanks. Okay. If this is a business website, part of the basis of it is courtesy, right? We're respectful of everybody in the business setting, right? So if I say good morning, you say good morning back. I said something very thoughtful. You said quite a lot, Spandana. He connected, but he didn't say anything, right? By sending a short thanks, number one, I'm mimicking their lack of saying anything by being very short myself. I can even say something like Happy October, because it's October, right? But you see again how it's being strategic in that I'm trying to get a response from them by saying something that elicits a response. I say good morning, you say good morning. I say happy October, courteous response would be happy October back to you, right? Or when I say thanks, it's kind of like giving them a nudge saying, hey, I said something, you didn't even say anything back. Is what the THX is really saying. So if you scroll down to the actual message from Jonathan, I actually heard him in a call and I said, I sent him a message. I made it about him. I said, I was resonating with a lot of your points on the Zoom, Jonathan. And I even thanked him, right? And this guy just accepted my connection request and didn't say anything. So that's when I sent him thanks. And then he responds back and he says, you're welcome. So do you see how the comments are designed such that you get something from them? Number one, it's not always 100%, okay? Number two, he said, you're welcome, but he kind of said something, but he shut the door again. So the ball is in my court again. I have to say something. And that's why you guys are called strategists. One of the learnings that you get from doing all this practice is you get how to read situations. Okay, after you've done enough of this, you'll have a wealth of experience as to what's worked for you in the past. What I'm giving you are just suggestions as to what to say, but as you keep on doing this with more and more people, you'll come up with your own methods. Questions?
What would you
Hi,
do
Bernie.
after this? You are welcome.
I'm sorry?
What would you say after this? You are welcome. Like he says, like you're welcome now. Kind of the door is shut, like you said.
Mhm.
So how would you proceed now if you are interested in like connecting with this guy and like having some relationship?
Okay, I'm going to throw back the question to you because I started to open the door with something about him. The obvious thing for me to do is to follow up on what I started that he has not acknowledged, right? I said something about the presentation. I was thanking him. In the subsequent words, this is me reading the situation. He hasn't said anything about what I initially said.
That's right.
So it would make sense for me to follow up on that train of thought. Good question, Munawar. What could I say?
Maybe you can pinpoint a particular interesting point in his presentation and then ask a question about it.
Yes, I could pinpoint something specific is good. What else? Any others? Vedant, you had a
Yeah,
suggestion?
you can maybe like um tell a comment about his profile, like I like your research or something like that. That
But
would be
that's different though. It's not along the lines of what we're saying. So Vedant, what you're saying is I can open up another topic to your point, talk about his research. But what I was telling Munawar was I opened this conversation with Jonathan up along a certain thought. He has not acknowledged it in what we have so far. So the logical thing to do is to follow up on what I originally said. But Vedant, by all means, you could definitely, this is about you controlling the conversation. So if you wanted to create something else by talking about his publication, by all means, you could do that.
yeah. And what if he doesn't reply to thanks? Like if someone don't write your welcome, should we pursue them
I
afterwards
would
too?
wait a week. I
Okay,
would wait a week, give them some time, watch
okay.
to see if they're posting. Because if they posted something, either comment and then talk about what they posted again. You see, this is what I mean about reading the situation. But that's a very good question, because at some point you don't want to seem like you're stalking them either, right? Like you're very persistent in trying to get something to say. What I would say here, to Munawar's point, Munawar was saying, he was saying that I could go into specifics. The strategist and Bernie would say, listen to this, okay? And tell me why it's very strategic. My response to your welcome would be, I really loved your points. Why is that
That's it?
strategic? Yeah, that's it. Why is it strategic?
Is it not like flattering?
Number one, it's flattering, yes, but it's something else. What is the something else that I had in mind when I said it?
About them? Or...
It is about them. It's about them. It's flattering them, yes. But the point that I was thinking of when I said, I really love your points, I was being vague because I was fishing for him to say, which points? You guys get how that's strategic? Questions?
Yeah, you kind of like trigger his curiosity, and
Exactly.
yeah, makes sense. But then again, it also depends upon the other person like you're interacting with. What if he says, you are welcome again?
Yeah. And that's where I'm talking about. You get to read the situation, right? So if he
Makes sense.
says, you're welcome again, you read the situation. You already said this. He said, you're welcome again. I might try Vedant strategy, talk about something else. Because obviously I already spoke about his points a couple of times. He didn't say anything about it. I would let some time pass and then do what Vedant suggested. Talk about something else. Is this making sense, guys? You're being taught how to read the situation. That's part of what you'll learn by doing this work. Really love your questions, by the way. Other questions?
I mean, is it okay to just say thanks? Like, won't it look rude or something? So, or else do we need to add some tag for it? Like, thanks for connecting or...
I'm being short on purpose.
Okay.
Remember, I said it's going to stand out in the inbox. And then to your point, you're like, is it rude? If you gave me something in person, is it rude for me to say thanks or thank you?
No, I mean,
Yeah. So I guess ask me more. Where were you going with that? It's rude
No,
because it's short?
yeah, I mean, it's short and it's already like we already gave a message about it and then we didn't get a reply. So
Well, that's
again,
why I was short too. I was mimicking his behavior.
okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
I was mimicking his behavior. I sent this whole thing. He connected, but he didn't say anything. So I reflected the action and said something really short. That's why I even put THX sometimes to highlight that I'm really being short. Right? And like I said, sometimes this isn't 100%. You'll get all sorts of different personalities, but there's only almost 1 billion professionals on LinkedIn. So you just go to the next person. Right? Very good question. What else? Okay, if you guys didn't have anything else, I want to keep it to that homework because I want to pace you guys with the information because there's kind of a lot to digest if you haven't applied this. So I'm hoping that even the listeners get to do what we're talking about as far as your homework. Your homework is to follow the message design principles that we talked about earlier. Your messages are short, but I want to highlight that it's actually ultra short, where you can read it in one line in your inbox. It's designed such that you're expecting a response, because what you're doing is you're laying the foundation for a back and forth and then never make a request. You guys up for the homework?
Yes.
Yep.
How many connections do you guys think you can make between now and next Thursday? This is a personal call, so in your mind, I want you to set a personal goal and then go for it this coming week. Because if you take actions, you'll have more doors shut in your face, questions, you get stuck. We have more stuff to talk about. And like I said, the learning is when you get stuck. Questions? All right, guys, I guess I'm gonna
Uh,
keep that as this week's.
Bernie,
Uh,
how many connection do you think that we should make before next Thursday in a week?
I don't know what's on your plate. It's really your call.
Yeah.
I would shoot for 10, but I don't know what's all on your plate.
Okay,
I'd
got
even
it.
shoot for 20.
Yeah, but it takes a lot of research, and when you're approaching a person, first you have to shortlist a person, and then you gotta research about them, and then you gotta approach them with your content being very short and to the point, and not like requesting and stuff. So it takes some work. Like I think I would only be able to manage between 5 and 10 connections, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like how you shared that to Munawar because I bet, there's 4 people on this call. I bet the 4 of you have different work styles and, some are more risk averse. Some would just go for it, not even research and just send out messages, copying. So we see all sorts of different styles, but it's all good because it's got to fit you with your work style. And we get to talk about all of this on a weekly basis.
Right.
Awesome. Thank you, Munawar. Final questions?
Um, yeah, are we closing the call? I
I'm closing the
actually,
call.
oh, yeah, I'm very much confused with see the connection request, even the one you mentioned while we are connecting with them, we need to personalize the connection message, right? So it should be short and it should be in a line so that they can see and accept my request. So basically the recent example, if I take the career fair, we met a lot of people. So I'm so confused, like what connection request, while sending a connection request, what is that personalized note I need to send them so that it is also short and it also mentions that we are connected in a career fair, and it also has other stuff.
The first thing that most everybody would be like, hi, my name is Bernie Floresca. We met at the career fair. I'm a
I would like to
graduate.
connect.
Exactly. But again, that's the intuitive part. I would think back to what that person and I spoke about during the career fair. For example, one of the examples I put in BRS chat, I forgot who it was, but he said that he got a chuckle out of the person he was talking to because he was laughing at how quick he said he would relocate to Milwaukee if he got a job with that company.
Okay.
So that was something specific from their conversation. So when he opens up the conversation, he could be like, hey, this is Bernie, the guy who got you to chuckle about how fast I would move to Milwaukee.
Yeah, that's something.
Make sense?
Yeah. But what if none of these things has happened? We just connected with them. We said we introduced ourselves and then we got their LinkedIn.
Then you
Those
go
are
into
most
their
of the
profile.
cases.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go to their profile, find something interesting. And then during the course of the conversation, you mentioned that you had actually spoken. But intuitively, I know what you guys want to do. You're going to be like, hi, I'm Pallavi. We spoke at the career fair. It's the
Yeah.
usual stuff. It's not standing out,
Yeah.
right? And your gut reaction is to send something long.
Yeah.
So give me an example, maybe. Can you open up somebody's profile?
Uh, yes, I guess.
Share.
Yeah, I just share my screen. Uh, Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Actually, what happened with him, I just sent him a connection request and I forgot to add a personalized note. So I suddenly withdrew it and now I'm not able to send it back
You know,
because
you can't send
I, yeah,
anything. Okay,
without,
so good. So we can get to talk about it for a second.
yeah.
So I said the clue is in the profile, right? Let's find something that we can talk about.
Um,
I actually caught something already in his first sentence.
building connections and cultivating opportunities for students of my passion.
Can you compliment him on that?
Yeah, I can maybe connect it with something that I want to work with. But again, my concern is whatever I make or I create a message, it ends up to be very long and not short. Like if I make something out of this, I can say that,
Practice.
yeah.
What would you say?
Okay, I would see what technologies, I know what technologies they're working in. So I'd say, yeah, that is something I have worked on that project or something, and
No,
that
I
will
want
be,
you to tell me verbatim, because
oh,
this is
okay.
part of our practice. What would you say exactly?
Uh, I I'm not able to make it. I just saw I saw that Zebra at the company has XYZ project which needs Java, and I have a experience working uh in Java in my past company.
Spandana, I know you have a reaction to that because you and I just spoke about it.
Yes, we should not talk about ourselves in the message.
Yeah, I don't know
Very
how to
good.
use it.
Very good. Spandana's in action. She's applying what she learned. Here's
Yeah.
what Bernie would say. You guys ready?
Yeah,
That's amazing that you're building connections and connecting opportunities for students, period.
that's it.
That's it.
And how do I put that we connected in career fair?
You don't have to tell them everything in the first message. Remember, short, designed to lay the foundation for a back and forth. That's why you're laying the foundation for the back and forth. I don't need to tell them everything right now. I'm just opening the door so we can have a conversation. Without the conversation, there was no relationship.
Yeah. But I don't know. Even some of the recruiters that I met, they're like, "Yeah, you do mention that we met in career." So I felt maybe if that is
Well,
something
they
I'd
gave
like,
you specific instructions, though. That's a different story.
yeah. What if the scenario is like maybe if I put that in a message, there will be chances of they expecting my over other because they get a lot of connection requests a day is what I assume. I mean, I don't know. I might be
Do you
wrong.
think the message I gave you is going to stand out? Number one,
Yeah,
who is
yeah.
it about?
It is gonna stand out for sure. For sure.
That's why it's being strategic.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I like the way that you're hanging on to what's intuitive, which is good. That's why we talk about these things. Because we send messages that are intuitive but not necessarily effective, because since it's intuitive, everybody sends that type of message.
Yeah.
And you get to practice this. Maybe you could send what I said and it doesn't work.
Mhm. Do
More
I also
questions.
do I need to put that okay, this is what I like and then I would love to connect with you? That's not required.
If you send it with a connect request, it's implied that you're
Oh,
wanting to
okay.
connect. Why even waste the reading time?
Extra reading. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
Does that help?
Yes, I'll
I
try.
think I'm starting to crack open, some light, right?
Yeah.
Because we have a certain way of how to do this. And the idea for you guys going through this is how to stand out. And number two, you're really wanting to create that back and forth. Because if there's no back and forth, there's no chance to create a relationship. It's transactional, right? You say, hey, this is Bernie, I'm looking for a job. Yeah, we have a job for you. And then when it's done, apply here. That's it. Sure, you got what you wanted, but did you create the business relationship? No, the door is shut. It's up
Mhm.
to you to generate that because you're truly, truly wanting to quote unquote make friends
Mm.
because it's the relationship that's important. Very good question. It opened up a
Yeah,
whole thing to talk about.
yeah,
Manohar?
yeah. Very good questions, Pallavi. Actually, you kind of changed the whole paradigm of connecting for me, Bernie, because I was thinking like just connecting is like just asking,
Yeah,
making a request for a job or
job.
something, but now it's more like building a relationship for to and fro communication and then asking about something.
So,
If you want to be effective,
mm,
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
want to be ignored, then do it like everybody else is doing because
mm,
Mhm.
they're tasked. Put yourself in their shoes. They're getting all of those, kind of like you said, Manohar, everybody's asking for a job. It's very obvious.
mm,
And that's why I'm showing you these things, because if it's like a short message, they'd be like, who's this? And then they check you out.
mm. Yeah.
That's why it's very strategic.
Yeah, we gotta first polish our LinkedIn profile before approaching these guys because
Exactly. Well, it
when
doesn't
we are
have to be
like
polished, actually. It doesn't have to be polished. It just to have a banner, a nice smiling picture, and then say student at Illinois Tech at the very least. That's all you need so that when they check you out, it shows that
Oh,
you're legit. And then number two, when they see that you're a student, they'll see your leadership, they'll see your initiative, they'll want to talk to you.
mm,
It doesn't have to be very polished. Just make it look like you spent some time with what I mentioned. A banner, a nice picture, and then say student at Illinois Tech at the very least.
mm,
right, cool.
If you want more than that, I created another video for LinkedIn in the
Mm.
C-suite. So if you wanted something else on top of that,
Okay, can you share the link or?
it's actually when you go to Handshake under
Mhm.
events, you just type in C-suite and LinkedIn. It's going to show
Okay,
up.
right. I'll check that out.
All right. All right, guys. I want to hear some roadblocks next week. Okay. That's the game plan. Don't practice on, I suggest that you don't practice on the companies that you want. Practice on all that connect cold, because connect cold and then there's connect practice. Practice with those guys first. If you start feeling comfortable, then I'd start going for the companies that you want. Or don't pick the most important person in those companies to start with, because you're practicing. And if you have any questions before Thursday, message me, quick message on LinkedIn. All right.
yeah.
Right. Thank you, Bernie.
You're welcome. I guess we'll see you on LinkedIn and then we'll see you next Thursday. And I'm looking forward to all your additional questions in the coming week.
Right.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye,
You're
Bunny. Thank
welcome.
you for the session.
You're welcome.